Emily was a flight attendant. She worked on a small plane. One day, she flew with 5 passengers. It was a normal day until the plane shook. Everyone looked scared. The plane started to go down. Emily tried to keep calm. She told everyone to put on their seat belts. The plane crashed into trees. There was a loud noise. When the plane stopped, Emily looked around. She was hurt but alive. She checked the passengers. They were alive too. The radio was broken. They had no way to call for help. Emily thought about what to do. She knew they should stay. Someone would come looking. But the hours passed. No one came. Night fell and it got cold. They had no food. Emily found some blankets in the wreckage. She gave them to the passengers. They needed to stay warm. The night was very dark. She heard animals in the forest. She felt afraid. Emily woke up early. She saw smoke. The plane wreckage was on fire. She shouted for the others to wake up. They all ran away from the fire. It spread quickly. The group needed to decide. Emily knew they could not stay by the burning plane. There was smoke and no shelter. She decided they should walk and look for help. The group followed Emily. They moved slowly through the trees. Emily saw a path. It was very narrow. They walked along it. Hours passed. Everyone felt tired and thirsty. Suddenly, Emily saw a road. She smiled. They waved their hands and tried to stop a car. A truck came by. It stopped, and a man stepped out. He looked surprised. Emily explained the crash. The man let them use his phone. Emily called for help. The police and an ambulance arrived. They were safe now. Emily felt very relieved. The passengers thanked Emily. They said she was brave. Emily smiled. She then remembered the flare gun in her bag. She had forgotten it. She could have used it for rescue. Emily felt sad, but also lucky. They had survived. If she had used the flare gun, they might have been saved sooner. Emily learned to trust herself and her instincts. Mike went on a safari trip. He was very excited. The day was sunny and the air was warm. He sat in the Jeep and looked at the tall trees and green grass. The Jeep stopped near a river. Mike got out to take some pictures. He moved closer to get a good view. Then he heard a loud noise from the bushes. He turned to see what it was. A large lion came out. Its mane was thick and golden. The lion looked at Mike and started to walk slowly toward him. Mike froze. He did not know what to do. The lion came closer. It looked strong and big. Mike felt very scared. His heart started to beat very fast. He thought, should I run or stay? The lion's eyes looked fierce. He could not move his feet. He slowly stepped back, looking around for a safe place. He saw a tall tree behind him. Maybe I can climb that tree, he thought. He slowly moved toward the tree, hoping the lion would not chase him. The lion suddenly roared. The roar was loud. Mike knew he needed to act fast. He ran toward the tree and began to climb. His hands gripped the trunk. The lion roared again and charged at the tree. Mike climbed as fast as he could. The lion's claws scratched the bark below him. He pulled himself up higher. His legs shook, but he did not stop. Mike climbed and climbed until he reached a branch. He sat on the branch, breathing hard. The lion stayed below. The lion paced around the tree. It looked up at Mike, but did not try to climb. Mike felt relief, but stayed alert. His heart still beat fast. Then, something moved in the grass nearby. The lion turned its head. Mike watched as the lion suddenly ran away. It chased after a smaller animal. Mike was surprised. The lion did not want to attack him. It was hunting something else. He climbed down slowly, making sure the lion was gone. Sarah is a nurse. She works at a big hospital. One night, Sarah is in the operating room. A patient is having surgery. There are doctors in the room. Suddenly, the lights go out. The machines stop working. There is no sound. Everyone looks worried. The doctors do not know what to do. Sarah feels scared. The patient needs help. The doctors look at Sarah. They hope she can help. She thinks about what to do next. Sarah takes a deep breath. She can wait for the power to come back. She can also try to help the patient herself. She looks at the machines again. The patient's vitals are dropping. Sarah decides to act. She takes the patient's hand. She checks for a pulse. She wants to keep the patient alive. Sarah tells the doctors to help her. One doctor gets a flashlight. Another doctor takes notes. They work together in the dark room. Time moves slowly. Sarah works fast. She checks the patient's heartbeat. It is weak. The patient needs power for the machines. The power is still off. Sarah does not stop. She keeps checking the patient's vitals. The doctors are also helping. One doctor holds the patient's hand tightly. Sarah is worried. She cannot see clearly. The patient's vitals drop more. Then, lights flash on. The backup power is on. Machines start working again. Sarah feels happy. The patient is getting better. The doctors smile at Sarah. She did not give up. The machines are now helping the patient. Sarah hears a noise. Someone enters the room. It is the hospital manager. He looks confused. He says the power is fine everywhere else. The manager checks outside the room. He finds a problem. Someone tripped a breaker. It was not a storm or a big disaster. It was a small mistake. Sarah and the doctors laugh. It was a small mistake. The patient is safe. They feel relief. Sarah saved the patient's life. She is a true hero. The hospital fixes the power problem. Everyone in the hospital is now safe. The manager thanks Sarah. She smiles and says, "I did my best." The patient slowly wakes up. Sarah smiles at the patient. She knows she did something good. Sarah will always remember this night in the hospital. Heavy rain fell all night. The subway tunnel began to flood. People were scared. Some trains stopped. One train got stuck in the tunnel. It could not move. The lights went off. It was dark. Water started to rise. A commuter named John was on the train. John looked around. Water came up to his ankles fast. He felt worried. Should he wait or swim? He took a deep breath. The water was rising faster now. He could see it reaching other people's seats. John stood up. He looked at the people around him. Everyone seemed scared. John saw an old woman and a child. They were holding hands. They needed help. John decided to help them. He knew the water was rising too fast. He held the child's hand. They moved slowly. The water was now at John's knees. They got to the front of the train, but there was no way out. The tunnel exit was blocked. John tried to stay calm. He said they must wait together. The water was now at their waists. The tunnel felt very cold. John held the child close. He said they would be okay. But John knew time was running out. People were shouting for help. The water was getting higher. John could not see the old woman anymore. He lifted the child up. The child was crying. John tried to stay strong. He looked around the tunnel again. Then he heard a noise. It was a rescue team, but they were still far away from him. John waved his arms. He shouted as loud as he could. The water was at his chest now. The rescue team was coming, but water was still rising. The rescue team arrived. They moved quickly. They put ropes around people. They told John to hold on. The tunnel was filling up with water fast. The child and John were pulled out. The team helped the others. John was safe now. He looked back at the tunnel. Water was everywhere inside. John asked why they came late. The team said they had been helping other people. John nodded. He was thankful. He knew they did their best to help. The train tunnel was empty now. John thought of the old woman. He hoped she was safe too. He sat down. He felt very tired after what happened. John looked around. People were with their families again. John was alone, but he felt happy he could help someone. He smiled a little at the child. Jack is a spelunker. He loves to explore caves. He finds a new cave. He steps inside slowly. The walls are rough. Jack hears water dripping far away. Jack walks deeper into the cave. The light from his helmet guides him. He sees small rocks on the ground. The cave is very quiet. Jack moves carefully. Suddenly, Jack hears a loud noise. Rocks fall behind him. He turns back and sees the entrance blocked. Jack is trapped inside. His heart beats fast. Jack looks around. He breathes slowly. He needs a way out. He sees some small gaps in the rocks. He starts to dig with his hands. Dust fills the air. Jack's hands hurt as he digs. He tries to move rocks away. The gaps stay small. Jack stops digging. He is tired. His helmet light shines dimly. Jack thinks of another way out. He remembers a side path. He decides to check it. Jack crawls through a narrow space. It is very dark ahead. The narrow path twists left and right. Jack crawls slowly. He sees nothing. The air is thick. He hears soft sounds. Maybe it is wind. Maybe it is something else. Jack's light starts to flicker. He panics. He hits his light. The flickering stops. Jack takes a deep breath. He cannot lose his light now. He keeps moving. Jack finds a bigger space. It looks like a room. Jack sees strange shapes on the walls. He finds an old box. There are tools and pottery inside it. Jack looks closely at the tools. They are very old. He feels excited. These must be ancient artifacts. The collapse had hidden this place for years. Jack looks at the blocked entrance. He smiles. Finding this hidden room is amazing. Jack decides to take a few items with him. He picks up a small bowl. Jack continues down the side path. He feels hopeful. He crawls until he sees light. It is the cave exit. Jack is free. He takes a deep breath.